Here we go.
At this time, I'd like to call the May regular board meeting to order. Roll call. Let the record show that all members are present with the exception of Mr. Arthur. All right, at this time, we'd like to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everyone has provided a copy of the minutes to review. Does anyone have any additions or corrections? All right, seeing none, we will let the minutes stand as presented. Claims, Mrs. Browning, do you have claims?
I do. I'd like to make a motion to approve all claims and payrolls as submitted.
All right, I have a motion to approve all claims and payrolls. Do I have a second? Okay. Second by Mr. Omer, and excuse me, motion by Mr. Omer and a second by Mr. Cornelius. Does anyone have any questions? All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, 6-0. There are no donations to approve this month. So we'll skip over that. Information report, Mr. Frank.
Okay, the first item we have for the information report is to recognize our staff members of the month for May. And so I'll like to have those staff members stand up when I call your name, and I'm going to read what the administrator or supervisor provided to us. So our first one is Alejandra Davila, and she's our EL teacher for Washington Junior High School. She was nominated by our principal, Mr. Arnold. He wrote, "Mrs. Davila is a true professional. She puts her heart and soul into helping her students. She always looks for opportunities to help advance their language and their life experiences. Thank you so much for all that you do." Next, we have Kim Craney, who works with facilities and custodial at Washingtonville Elementary, and she's been nominated by her principal, Mr. Wildman. And he wrote, "Mrs. Craney has dedicated 25 years to the upkeep of our schools. Mrs. Craney has always taken pride in her work and in her work ethic. She has been reliable and dependable in her approach to take responsibility for her buildings. Mrs. Craney is retiring to take on more grandma duties. We wish her well and thank her for many years of service." Thank you so much. Finally, we have Amber Daniels, who is a third grade teacher, and she's been nominated by her principal, Mr. Cherry, and he wrote, "Ms. Daniels is a hardworking and dedicated educator who consistently goes above and beyond to meet the individual needs of her students. Her flexibility and willingness to adapt make her an invaluable team player in any setting. She demonstrates a strong commitment to student success through personalized support and collaboration. Ms. Daniels is truly a vital asset to Washington Intermediate School. Thank you for all that you've provided us this year." I think we're going to get a group picture.
Thank you so much for letting us do this
Thank
year,
you
guys.
so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to expanding it next year. I hope everyone has a great summer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The second item we have tonight as an information report item, I have Mr. Holland, I believe one of his teachers is here, And they are going to share about the new Hatchet Gold program they're putting into place for next year.
Okay, apologize on the flyer. We had AP testing, so when I printed it, it printed flip side, so I didn't get a chance to reprint them for you, so you just have to be inconvenienced and flip them back and forth. But anyway, this is a flyer we create. I shouldn't say we, Miss Sydney Brooks created this flyer when we had this idea. And realistically, this has kind of been our guidance throughout this entire process. So Mr. Barley has been one of our leaders. So you're going to hear some terminology, and I want to explain some of those. But Miss Brooks, Mr. Barley, and Miss Yoakum, our 9-10 grade counselor, have been heavily involved in implementing this process. 3 years ago, when I was hired, one of the things that I wanted to bring was an opportunity to give our freshmen a high school experience. What I felt was we do a lot for our top end, our top 15, 20% of our students, and our bottom 10, 15, they got a lot of supports. But those middle guys, they're just there, and they're hanging there. You know, these are our B, C's, and D students that could go either way. Sometimes they're on the fence. They just need that guidance, and we want that opportunity here. So basically, we're forcing the hand, and we're going to hear the term intentional relationships, which is what we're going to create here. One of the things I think we kind of forget is the great opportunities that our seniors have with leaving the building early and not being in school every day, all day, has had an unintended consequence, and that is leadership in the building. And that leadership in the building, or lack thereof, now falls upon those lower levels. And sometimes they're maybe ready, maybe not ready. And so what it does is that lower behavior, it's easier to cave into that versus being that strong leader and bringing them up, versus it's easier to settle back down. So kind of a comprehensive approach to this is let's create some mentors, give some juniors and seniors an opportunity to be leaders in our building, and kind of set the tone and set the culture and the immediate climate, but ultimately the culture of what we want at Washington High School. So I've been part of programs like this in previous schools. Some have been successful and some haven't been. And really the driving force is like anything. It's as good as you make it. And I feel like the team of leaders that I have some experienced people, that would be me and Miss Yoakum. And then I have our younger teachers that really can connect with our students. And Mr. Barley and Miss Brooks are that connection. And we'll be on the later in the agenda. I don't want to give it away too much, but there's one sitting behind me that will be, I'm hopeful that will be part of this as well. And we'll talk about her later whenever she gets hired in as a math teacher here soon. But anyway, we need some relationship with our younger teachers with these kids and help establish a better climate for our Washington High School. So what we've done is we went through a series of different things, and our first thing was we got to have something that's going to hook our kids. And so we met with their entire staff, and then we took volunteers from that point. And then those who continued to show up when we had meetings and we did some talking and emailing back and forth and stuff, others became more and more involved, and they kind of evolved into what we call our team or our teacher leaders. And they're the ones that started like, okay, we got to come up with a name. We can't just call it Hatchet Mentors. We got to have a name. So we looked at some various things. We had some great ideas, but we settled with Hatchet Gold. And I shouldn't say settle, but we feel like Hatchet Gold kind of encompasses what our program is all about. And so when we look at it, it's obviously it's one of our school colors, which is important, but it also, you know, the acronym I think is very important. We're looking for these freshmen with all the growth and the opportunities that are out there. Eventually they're going to be our leaders, but also our juniors and seniors are our leaders here. And man, we have a lot of opportunities within our community and also within our school itself. So that discovery of those opportunities. So that's how we came up with the acronym Hatchet Gold. And so we felt like this was kind of our direction
And so we took this information, and Miss Brooks, our English teacher, created a nice brochure for us and kind of highlight some of the things that we're targeting as we're going forward with this process. And we really kind of stuck to these roots when we went through this process. So what is Hatchet Gold really for? You know, those of you that have been in our building, you know, Mr. Barley, myself, a lot of you, we grew up in this building, and we're going to say, you know, the high school, junior high, we're connected. You just step across the hallway, not a big deal. It's a big deal. Walking across that hallway in 7th and 8th grade to becoming a freshman, it's a whole different ball game. Expectations are different. We start being accountable for our attendance, accountable for our homework, and our grades and our credits matter now more than they ever did before, because if they don't hit that 40 pinnacle mark of credits, they don't get to advance on and graduate. So things are different. More responsibilities added to the student, and I'm not real sure that by that fall semester of their freshman year, they're ready for that. So the program is intended to get them ready. And so we're going to start this, and we'll get to that in a moment. We're going to start this with a day in the summer to get us prepared to where we hit the ground running when school starts August 7th, I believe, 8th, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm already back at work. I don't remember. But anyway, as we get close to that time. Real quick, I want to give you an idea of why we need some of this leadership before we go a little bit further here. I had Mr. Ashworth run a report for me today. So 36% of our discipline write-ups come from freshmen. So we've had a documented 513 for the school year, and 185 of them are freshmen. I will tell you this, that there's probably been over 1,000 visits in his office alone by freshmen alone. Just either removed from the classroom, teacher needs a break or whatever, just getting prepared to know how to behave and understand high school. And that seems like a simple thing, like millions of people do high school every year, but it's not so simple. It's life-changing for these kids. It's a big accountability and responsibility piece. So when we look at the data behind it, we do know that we have an issue and we need to provide some things. So we understand this culture, and that's why I have that on here. We're intentionally building these relationships with our kids, and for me, the biggest piece on this of all of that, besides building relationships, is the accountability. And that's very important. Okay, so we want our kids involved. You know, if they're not an athlete already in 8th grade, or if they're not involved in junior beta, or if they're not involved in student council, the majority of the time, those kids aren't going to be involved when they get in high school either. So we're losing a big opportunity of kids being involved. And we have a lot of opportunities that carry up from what's already established from K all the way up through 8th grade, but we also have even more than that. And then, you know, it seems so far away when you're a freshman to hear your junior and senior year, you've got to take care of things now. So you have these opportunities junior and senior years. Well, who better to tell them than our juniors and seniors when they were freshmen just a year or two ago? So we want them to understand that importance of attendance and discipline plays a role in whether they're going to have those opportunities junior and senior year of doing the things that are necessary, especially when it ties into our pathway days and those types of things. I think all of us in this room, no matter if we graduate from Washington High School or not, we can relate to numerous stories from high school. And myself, I had a great and positive experience. And some kids come in with that attitude, just whether it be from the parents or their families, that it's just negative, 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 and they just hate school just because they hate school. And we want to create positive experiences for them and give them opportunities to see that positive part of what school can be like. And yeah, getting up every day and going to school gets mundane and repetitive, and maybe we don't always enjoy it. But there's always some good things that happen, and we got to celebrate those good things. And you know, we kind of have, it isn't really, it's kind of an indirect approach of like Kids of Hope. It doesn't have all those elements involved, but we need to celebrate what these kids are doing. You know, I just talked to Miss Clifton today, and in our AE program, we got a kid that came into us that had less than 20 credits to go and graduate. So we've done it. I mean, we're doing it. We got to celebrate those things. I mean, that kid could not wait to tell Miss Clifton so she can get him to pass to come talk to me and Mr. Ashworth to talk about he's going to graduate. So those are the things that we need these connections earlier so that it's not that kid that's 20, 25 credits behind. As we get here with this part here, Mr. Barlow, you want to talk a little bit about teacher leaders and what your roles are going to be?
Yeah, so we have a group of teacher leaders, and in homeroom, we're going to have the mentors, which are the junior and seniors that will be with the freshmen. We're going to put together some lessons and kind of go over them with the mentors about maybe, how to sign up to play a sport, or which office do I go to if I want to change my schedule, or which counselor do I email, and just some things that sometimes the freshmen aren't too clear on coming out of the gate. And so these mentors can kind of help guide them on any questions they have. And I will say the cool thing about our mentors, we have a pretty diverse group as far as what they're involved in. We have kids that are in athletics, we have kids in band, we have kids in ROTC, kids in choir. And so we had them do a survey with the freshmen, and we're going to match them up based on like their interest. So that way they can kind of help kids that are in a similar path as what they're going down. So, yeah.
Awesome. So right now we have 9 teacher leaders. And so Ms. Brooks and Mr. Barley are going to have all the mentors assigned to them for homeroom. And then the other teacher leaders that we have will have freshmen assigned to them as homeroom. And they will have them every day. Now, we're not doing this every day, but they will have them every day. So they'll offer the guidance and give them the micro lessons and those types of things that we're talking about. So when we say micro lessons, to reiterate some of the things that Mr. Barley talked about, we take for granted that kids know where the guidance office is and how to change the schedule. Well, as you're a freshman, now it's on you. Before that, it was always a parent or a guardian calling school to get something changed. Well, that responsibility now is primarily on the student to get that taken care of. And then before we make a change, we'll contact the parent or guardian and confirm that that's right. But how do they go with that process? So this gives them that confidence. It gives them that ability to initiate that. And again, we go back to that accountability word. Start that a little bit earlier. Accountability and responsibility to me are kind of interchangeable. So our teacher leaders, we met several times throughout the school year, and we had a couple PD days built in that we use, and we went through the process of how do we select our mentors. So right now we have 52 mentors, and there are combinations of juniors and seniors. We had to go with some juniors because we don't have enough seniors in the building right now to take care of all of because our seniors are split throughout the day. Some may be at school during the morning and out in the afternoon, vice versa. Some may be out in the morning and come in the afternoon. And depending on what program they're in, they may only be there for 1 or 2 periods a day. So we had to get some juniors involved. So we looked at those things, but the number one thing that we made sure we didn't make as a rule was we didn't put academics as a priority in terms of that's the eligibility. Academics obviously is a key piece. There's not anyone on our list of 52 that's at risk of failing, but that wasn't our priority. Our priority was discipline, attendance, and most importantly, the thing we looked at more than anything was character. And those are our criteria of what we did. And we tried to hit everybody from people in robotics to our dual language immersion, our dual language programs, to those that can help out with our communication gap that we have and stuff. So we try to get a representation of all of our 800 and some students that we have in the building. And so I felt like with the collaboration of our 9 teachers, and plus we included all of our teachers to give input, not just those 9. And then we got a list, we gave out applications, and those that completed the application, we felt like they had that initiative, that these are the ones we want to start to target. So we pulled them in for a one-on-one interview, and our teacher leader interviewed them, and we took 2 days to do that right before spring break. And then once we did it, we made the offer, and once they accepted the offer to be a mentor, then we put a code of conduct in, and our next meeting with them is to have them sign that code of conduct so that they understand what their role is going to be and so forth, and go forward. So one thing I want to ease your mind at, we're not putting kids in a position to where Friday night, man, this freshman's having a bad day and they're going to call that mentor on a Friday night to get some advice at 3 a.m. or whatever the case. That's not this. That is not what we're doing. And that's part of this code of conduct. We're not making them be friends on social media. We're not exchanging cell phone numbers. We're not doing any of that. The most we're exchanging is going to be through email addresses. So we looked at those issues that we kind of put ourselves in when we were in high school and thought these are the things we need to eliminate So it's not on that student, that it goes back to us and parents and guardians and so forth. Okay, so we went through all that. That's how we came up with our 52. It was a great to see those kids' faces when they found out they were selected. It was pretty cool, wasn't it? They were excited. These are kids that really wanted to do it, and they're not the ones that are at the top of their class. They're not the ones at the very, very bottom. These are kids that are C's and D's that may never get recognized, that are going to be some of our mentors that help out, and we feel like that's going to put them on a better path as well. So I'm going to wrap up here with a couple of things. We start the program with a mentor meeting in the summer. Friday, August 1st is our mentor meeting. We're going to bring them in for 2 hours. We'll probably feed them. We're going to give them some expectations, and we're going to collaborate on our expectations on what's going to happen on our orientation day. So our freshman orientation day will be the following Monday. So it's still fresh on everyone's mind, and gives us a chance over the weekend, if we need to make some tweaks to our process and so forth, we'll be able to, iron those things out before we're ready to go on that Monday. Monday, we invite all freshmen to come in. Now, we already know we're not getting 100% participation, and we expect that. We have a plan for that process, but we're going to invite everyone, give them an opportunity. We surveyed all our freshmen and our mentors and our teacher leaders. We got shirt sizes for them, so they're going to get a t-shirt from us. We're going to feed them that day. So on that August 4th date, when they come in, we're going to go through a mock schedule. So all the mentors are going to take their mentees, and they're going to walk the building, go to their locker. They're going to show them how to transition from each class period, where that is going to be located and so forth. And we're going to do that for about a half hour or so, maybe take a little bit longer, whatever we feel like is necessary. We're going to feed them. I think I may have already mentioned that, but we will feed them. And then we're going to do some bonding activities that they may or may not want to participate in, but those that want to, we've got some activities that we want to do with them. And then we're going to send them on their way. So we're looking at about a 4-hour day with them, just to get them acclimated to the high school and make them feel like they already know some people. Because some of these kids, like my daughter, if she came to high school, she wasn't involved in anything. She wouldn't know anybody. Now they're going to have some familiar faces already before that first day of school. So they have people they can go to and be with, and they're going to know who their homeroom teacher is as well, because the teacher leaders are going to be there with us. Okay. Last thing I have for you is we've already received the teacher innovative grant. I applied for that back in early January, and we were notified we received it. So we got a $250 grant from there. We did receive about a $1,600 grant from another source, from a local foundation as well. So we're still looking for funding for this. We're going to send some information out to some local businesses and see how many want to participate and stuff. So if you have any ideas on generating some funds there, we would definitely welcome that. Everything is given to students. It's not for us. This is all student driven. Gives them, we feel like we need some incentives. We want to see some spirit days and give them some reward for those that do the best and so forth, and bring some really good, school spirit back to Washington community schools. So Barley, have anything you would like to add?
No, I just agree. The mentors seem really excited, and I'm hoping the freshmen will be too. So,
Sounds like a great program.
Any questions for us?
Did you touch on how many mentors will each mentor have?
So we did the math. We're approximating about 4 to 5 kids. But actually it worked out to be less than that whenever we went through the process. So some will have 2, and there might be others that have 4. So that's probably our range where we're at right now. And a lot of that's based on, we had very few that are in FFA. So if they had an interest in being in agriculture or FFA or whatever, we tried to pair them with that person, and that created larger number for certain ones. So that's why some of those are even larger than what we really hoped for. We were trying to get 3 if we could, but 4 is manageable. And we feel like the kids that have 4 are very responsible, and we feel very comfortable that they can handle it.
I think it's great.
Thank you guys for coming today and sharing about Hatchet Gold.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
they say it's yours and it's 10 pounds, but you look great, and I look 10 pounds.
All right. Do we, how many patron statements on the agenda? Amanda, she's taking a look. Nope, okay. All right, now we'll move to personnel, retirements, Mr. Frank.
Tonight, I am recommending we accept the retirements for Mark Arnold, Larry Cochran, and Jay Wildman.
All right, I have a recommendation to approve the retirements. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Miller, second. Mrs. Brown, seconds. Any questions? All right, and no questions, all in favor? 6-0. Appointments?
Appointments, I'm recommending the hire of Cody Chapman as junior high principal, Michelle Tarr as high school math teacher, Lauren Haveman as junior high science teacher, Chris Lavely as elementary teacher, and Bailey Green as a high ability summer camp teacher.
All right, I have a recommendation to approve the appointments. Do I have a motion for that? First by Mr. Cornelius and a second by Mr. Omer. Does anyone have any questions? No questions? All right. All in favor? 6-0.
You've got Michelle sitting in the audience, so welcome
Welcome.
to Washington. And Mr. Chapman as our new junior high principal.
There you go.
All right. Congratulations, yeah. All right, moving on to new business. No, old business, sorry, I skipped over that. So old business, do we have anything under old business?
No old business tonight.
Okay, moving on to new business.
New business, the first item, I'm recommending the approval of Hagerman Inc. To be our design builder for the facility project and to issue the letter of intent. In the board packet, our design criterion consultant prepared the recommendation and provided all the information about the process that's happened here since February. Here about 10 days ago, the technical review committee conducted their interviews and their scoring. You have received all of that information. And so we're ready now to move forward into the step one progressive design build service phase, which is what that letter of intent basically details. And so I'm making the recommendation for us to move forward.
All right, I have a recommendation to approve Hagerman as the design builder for the project and issue a letter of intent. Do I have a motion for that? First by Mr. McCormick and a second by Mr. Omer. Does anyone have any questions? No questions, all right. We have a vote on that. All in favor? 6-0.
Just for board members to know if they want to meet Mike Holtkamp, who's a project manager from Hagerman. He's here tonight and we're excited to get working with him and his team.
I think, yep.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and we look forward to working with you as well.
Thank you.
I think you're the lead role, right? Pretty well here on this project? Yep.
That's what they tell me.
Yep. Congratulations. Yep.
Next item under new business is the second reading for the cash reserve policy. We had the first reading during April. And again, this provides a framework and a philosophy for the district to follow in terms of having reserve targets for our three main accounts: operations account, education account, and the rainy day fund. You know, this is something that we would plan to review on an annual basis. Really, the way the thing is set up, it provides a framework when we have that financial review in January. And with where those reserve targets are, if we decide, you know, we want to adjust those, that's certainly something that we can do when we would review our financials on an annual basis.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the cash reserve policy. Do I have a motion? Yep. Mr. Miller first and Mr. Cornelius seconds. Questions?
Just one, like on the percentages of the accounts, were there some guidance or like how to come up with those numbers?
So we're taking the guidance from Carrie and I sat in on an Indiana University school finance workshop. And so we're basically taking the guidance from that workshop.
Anyone else? Okay. If all in favor? 6-0.
Next item is a recommendation to surplus the items that are provided. And basically what these items are, it's our curriculum that's going away for grades kindergarten through 5th grade. We've adopted the new curriculum that'll be coming in. So we have a lot of curriculum materials that, the way that works, we try to encourage students and teachers to take what they want. Steve has checked with used book buyers to see if there's any interest there. I don't think there is. And so basically what's left, and through the surplus process, we'll have our Sodexo team move stuff out to recycling, and so that we can be ready to accept the new materials.
Now, there is some interest in local partnerships with this material to use to help with our immigrant populations. So YMCA and other churches that work with those families
Okay.
can have some of this before we
Cool.
recycle.
All right, I have a recommendation to approve the disposal of the surplus items. Do I have a motion for that? Mrs. Gosh, Brown, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I know Sarah, I'll say Mrs. Brown, sorry. How about a second, please? Yeah, Mr. McCormick. All right, any questions? No questions? All right, have a vote. Okay, 6-0 on the approval. Other?
No other
No other, okay. We're down to
non-agenda.
non-agenda items. Do we have any non-agenda items? Okay, good deal. All right, information items?
Hey, I have several items. The first one's not listed there. I just wanted to give a quick verbal report. Scott, Carrie, and I did a virtual call with Ice Miller and Baker Tilly on the bonds for the project, the 2025 bonds. And basically, it was decided that the best thing for us to do is to not issue any bonds like this spring or summer with the step one, design build service fees being at a place that we can basically cover and then be reimbursed later. The financial experts are basically saying it's just best to hold, see where we are in the fall. They brought up the whole Senate Bill 1 and the property taxes, and to try to have them wrap their minds around, how the bonds should be packaged and all that. So just so that the board knows, and it's basically taking the timeline that was provided to you guys, and we're basically just going to pause with that part. We'll come back in the fall and pick that up. Next regular board meeting is June 19th at 7 p.m. Graduation is Saturday, May 24th at 10 a.m. We're planning a work session regarding planning on Veal and kindergarten for next year at Washington Primary Cafeteria on June 2nd at 6 o'clock. One item that I wanted to bring up and see that if everybody's okay with, part of this work with Hagerman now, they're working to have the report done and presented at the October board meeting. So I got to looking at the calendar on that. And right now our third Thursday falls over fall break. So I wanted to see if that was okay, if we look to move that back a week to a week after fall break. I know that's a week that I'm usually try to get away, and some of you guys do too. Or if that's okay with everybody, we'll just move that back a week. I'll make sure Mike and his team knows that, and it'd be October 23rd.
Yeah.
Is that the date? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then the last thing on there is Baker Tilly is suggesting that, or basically proposing and offering to come in and do a school board workshop over Senate Bill 1 and provide training to all of us and to the public. And looking at doing that at 6 o'clock on June 19th before the regular board meeting. So it'd be just an hour, no more than an hour, and they'll come in and provide training on that and what the impact's gonna be to us and help folks understand kind of what we're facing there. So
June 19th, 6.
June 19th at 6 on the same night as the regular board meeting.
Hour may not be long enough for that, Bill.
I mean, it could. He thought an hour to at least get the basics and to try to provide, I think, some forecasting on how it specifically hits Washington community schools. And that's all the information items I have.
All right, if there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. First by Mr. Kermes and second by Mr. Miller. All right, all in favor? 6-0, meeting adjourned.
Be